Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Toon Review. Boy, has it been a busy day if you're a Newcastle United content creator. I tell you, it has been... I just finished off my video and bang, it was there. Mitchell was leaving. I got a message straight away from Stato saying, get back in your studio. We did the live show, me and Billy, earlier on, and then, honestly,
my boss thought someone had died. I was like, well, yeah, they might as well have done.
Well, I mean, Newcastle, it's just incredible, isn't it? It is incredible. But obviously, I know Billy's opinion of the situation, but we'll get your two in a second. I am joined tonight for the season review by Stato, Billy, and Lady Sam. We're all together for the season review. So what we'll do later on is the season player ratings, guys. I have sat for most of the day, apart from being in front of the camera, inputting all of our player ratings that we did throughout the season and have worked out the average for each player. So what I will do is later on, I will ask my three colleagues to, we'll go through each individual player. I'll ask what they think of them out of 10, and then we'll compare it to what the average season voting was from us three. So you can take part in that in the chat. But obviously, Stato, big news broke earlier on. Obviously, I mean, what's your take on it?
I mean, my initial reaction is I'm absolutely gutted because I do think that Paul Mitchell is...
You were a big fan, weren't you, Mitchell?
I think he's one of the best in the business at what he does. He came through as a player at MK Dons, at McDongs. He was a recruiter, a scout, a head recruiter. He did it at Spurs. He's been an operations director, a technical director, a global operations director. He went in and sorted out Monaco's rebuild over 3 years and completely flipped them around. It's a bit gutting, to be honest. And it's a shame that, I mean, we don't know exactly why this has happened, but it's just a shame that it couldn't have been worked out, because I think one thing I'm fairly certain about, and this is just guessing, I don't think it was a short-term arrangement. I think it would have been ludicrous for somebody to come to a project like this and go, oh yeah, I'll stay with you for 12 months and we'll get you your shit pointing in the right direction.
Yeah.
It was never teed up to be that.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously something's gone wrong or something's happened or things have changed. We don't know what, but I'm gutted because I think he is a fantastic recruiter and thought leading up everything was going to be really good for us, because this next sort of year is integral. This is a kicking on phase now for us to go and join the top bracket. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Sam, do you share those? Are you gutted he's gone, or are you not too fussed, or did it come as a big surprise?
Yeah, we're about to start a bloody transfer window. The transfer window we have all been waiting for with breath that is bated, and our superstar recruiter extraordinaire magician is off. But thanks for the Lloyd Kelly deal. Don't want to be here. Jog on. And we said this, when Stato actually did his review on Paul Mitchell, we were all blown away by CV. However, there were short-term recruitment things. Like he doesn't play well in the sandpit. It was always going to be a risk. This is sooner than I think any of us anticipated. The timing.
Well, Sam, I think he is here for June. I think he's still here for the rest of June.
He is here for June. But so, maybe deals have been done and will be done between the first 10 days of June when the window initially opens.
However, though, Paul, you're not going to put your heart and soul into a club that you're leaving and going off from. I mean, if he does, credit to him and tip of the cap, but really, like if I've put me notice in, I'm coasting to the finish line, taking extra long breaks. So
yeah, you do. I know everybody does that. I mean, look. I mean, you've had more chance to digest it, Billy, since we went live. Even the journalists are arguing amongst themselves as to what's happened. We've seen reports saying there was no falling out. The Geordie journals have said that Eddie's won the power battle. It's very intriguing to see what the actual journalists are saying as well.
It is, and if they don't know, we've got no chance, have we? We're just firing into trying to shoot fish in a bucket. We've got no chance, really. Although when you're shooting fish in a bucket, you've got every chance, haven't you? So that's a ridiculous analogy to use.
It's been a long day.
I don't know. He couldn't. Maybe, as I said earlier, maybe he hasn't settled in the area. Maybe he feels kind of left isolated when Paul Eales leaves politically within the boardroom structure. Or maybe him and Eddie Howe don't get on, but we don't know. And so, therefore, there's no real point in speculating about it, really, apart from just great content, which we're doing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's never quiet on the Western Front, so to speak, Alex, with regards to Newcastle United. But the timing of it, as I said earlier, it seems very strange to me. We're only a few days away from that initial transfer window opening, and obviously Darren Eales, he is leaving as well. Mitchell made a comment about him. That they are very close, and with Mitchell leaving, he doesn't feel like he can stay in the job that he's in. That's a bit weird to me, basing it on that. It kind of just opens up a can of worms for me. As if to say, because Eales is gone, he's not really supported by anybody else. If you see what I mean?
Look, I mean, I agree, but we've not got a lot to go on. That is possibly one element. It's possibly a bit of camouflage. I mean, beyond the whole Paul Mitchell doesn't play well with others as a generic term that's been thrown out, the journalists have had not a sniff of this, not even a tiny inclination that this was happening. Nobody posted nothing in the last 2 days. Nothing at all. So they can pretend that they knew, but nothing was released. So I would take that as nobody did know. You've had a lot of people come out since.
Craig
and
Hope got a little bit of an idea, didn't he? Because he tweeted out before it was announced that something was going on. Because he can hear the murmurings within the club.
But I mean, in the last few days leading up to this, nobody knew this was imminent or going to happen. So the problem is there's 5 or 6 strong narratives that could ring true. It's potentially they had the meeting last night or whenever it was 2 nights ago, and they've decided down a certain path of recruitment and strategy, and Mitchell's gone, can't be on board with that, sorry, it's not me, and he's decided. Or it's a general they can't play well, or it's a bit of Darren Eales, or it's a bit of this, it's a bit of that. Unfortunately, we don't know. Maybe Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall have been a bit vicious. That could be in there as well. We have absolutely no idea. We've got nothing to go on, and everybody's just kind of clutching at straws as to what it might be.
Well, you can tell because the journalists are all saying different things as well. So,
they
are. How does
the ones that hate us, the ones that like us, are all posting slightly, some similar, some different things. We've got no idea, unfortunately. It's just a bit of a shame.
Sam, it's the time of it is crazy for me. The fact that there is a report come out since saying that there may well be more big departures from Newcastle's boardroom in the imminent future, and that doesn't include Darren Eales. So that was an interesting report that came out. I mean, are they just overhauling everything, letting Eddie Howe go back to old school and just him and Nixon work together, bringing the players in?
Has he earned the backing? Has he earned the backing of the chairman? Yes. Was that what he was getting whispered in his ear? Who knows? But hey, somebody's been backed. People haven't. Or maybe this is just the next phase of the project that we're moving into. We need a different skill set. We need different quality of personnel. Perhaps that's what we're moving into. Or it's just we're just not getting on in that place. People have got different ideas, different experiences, different sets of expertise. I think this is just a parting of ways because things weren't working with ideas that people had. And, I agree with Alex that maybe he's just gone in and thought, do you know what? This is my arena and I can't do my job the way I want to do it. So I'm off. Remember back when the lads were over in Germany training at the Adidas camp, Eddie said something really similar.
He did. It's a good point. That we did discuss that earlier, Billy, didn't we? Just saying that Mitchell maybe thought he was coming in to do a different job to the one that he's actually now facing or faced. But the fact that he hasn't even been here for a whole year yet, and then he announces that he's leaving, it doesn't sit right. There's something off because, like Alex correctly said, this is a huge project at Newcastle United, and it's not a short-term job. This is somebody to come in and work long-term, which when we did the shows about the potential DOF coming in, we did Freeman, we did obviously we did Mitchell. And when we did Mitchell, he suddenly went to the top of everyone's list. Or he's fantastic. Look at the job he's done at various clubs. So to be here less than a year, it doesn't sit right, Billy.
Well, if it was a year, it would have been teed up as a year, wouldn't it? If they said
Absolutely,
12 months,
Yeah.
If it was 12 months, they would have said 12 months, right? So the fact that it has only been 12 months and nothing was said means something's changed.
Well, Aaron makes a good point. He said in his first interview, he was talking about the next 5 years and that Newcastle was a perfect fit for him. For me, something had definitely happened behind the scenes. You look back to what he said originally, and he hasn't said much, to be fair. He hasn't come out in the press and said a lot. But that indicates he was ready for the long term, and suddenly now he's not even here a year, and he's saying he's leaving.
It's what happened in that year that he's had nothing to do, really, has he? Let's be honest. Apart from a couple of sales, nothing incoming, apart from the Asula deal last summer.
Yeah.
Which I don't think he'd have been involved in. I think that's we all know it's an Eddie Howe, Jason Tyndall recruitment, because Jason Tyndall worked with him at Sheffield United, didn't he, apparently? So, yeah, it's we don't know. We really don't know. But has there been a power struggle? Does Eddie Howe like having people recruiting players for him without kind of him having a say in it? I don't know. Does Eddie Howe want more of a say in it? Possibly. Does he want the full say in it? Who knows? For me, to have that kind of role, he's already working 24/7. Is there enough hours in a day for him to do that as well? I don't think so.
I literally just had this conversation with my wife before we went live, because Paul Mitchell was meant to be doing the women's team, all the different age groups. I have a query for all of you, because there's been loads of people saying, Eddie Howe just wants English players or Premier League proven players. I can't get on board with that either, because we've recruited Botman, Tonali, Bruno, Isak, like the spine of our team.
But were they Eddie's choices? That we had this discussion before, Alex, and I think you raised a very good question, because Sam, I'll read this out from Chris at Evermore first. Eddie doesn't appear to be comfortable not being heavily involved. He's earned the right to be backed, as he's the man who's taken us forward, not Ashworth or Mitchell. Let Eddie have a go and see. So do you trust Eddie with the job that he seems to have now with Nixon, as in being in charge of recruitment as well, with everything else he does? It's a big job that these days.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Stick to your swim lane. Eddie's a fantastic speaker. He's a great coach. The development ceiling that he gets out of players is absolutely phenomenal. Ask us at the beginning of the season, would you expect where we are now? Absolutely not, even though sometimes it's been very ugly and difficult as a fan to watch. But this has been a long, tough road. I can't see Eddie having the capacity to be able to do recruitment and be a head coach. And quite frankly, I want him 100% focused on tactics, the squad, have a say by all means, absolutely. But I want somebody with knowledge of the market, network connections, somebody who knows how to negotiate. That's what I'd be looking for with that area of expertise.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are in the chat, and to be honest, I've seen lots of people make comments on this since the announcement, is that comment that Mitchell made about not being fit for purpose, etc. Did that ruffle a few feathers, do you think? And that's why maybe because Darren Eales maybe stood by him with that, but other people didn't. And then you've got, because he did make a point of saying with Darren, it made a point of saying Darren Eales is leaving, and that's a big thing for me. So I don't know.
As I say, politically, he probably would have been left isolated, wouldn't he?
Well, that's why I'm thinking that because he hasn't got the support from other people in the boardroom that he had with Eales.
It's more than ego. It doesn't matter.
Oh, absolutely.
Aside,
damn right.
It's no secret among circles that the recruitment, specifically within the Northeast, is pretty bad. There are a lot of things that are overlooked in regards to recruitment directly within the Northeast for Newcastle. There are things that are not right or weren't right at least a couple of years ago. The youth academy, for one, was absolutely torrid. Everything was useless. And fine, just because Nixon was a good pick, I mean, this is going to be a massive oversimplification of it, but it's not hard to go and pluck the most promising players in certain positions to a degree. Like picking a Botman out of a hat is doable because there were 4 or 5 young, competent left-footed centre-halves that everyone was chasing around that time. It was Bremer, it was Botman, you'd also got Todibo was in there as well. There were 3 or 4 that everyone was going for. You don't have to be a top-level scout to know that that was probably a good pick if you can afford it. Yeah. So, and just what you mentioned, you put Chris's comment on screen. He's earned the right to be backed, and he's the man who's taken us forward, not Ashworth or Mitchell. Let Eddie have a go and see. Chris, that's not his job. That is literally not his job role. He cannot take on everything. He has no experience.
But it used to be, Alex.
Sitting at a negotiating table.
And I think me and Billy mentioned this earlier on, that it is Eddie Howe old school.
He was in charge of recruitment in League 2 and League 1, and then as they rose up. But this is a different kettle of fish. Like,
he gets a lot of criticism. He gets a lot of criticism as well from Bournemouth fans. For the likes of Jordan Ibe and people of that nature coming in.
Yeah. Listen, there's a lot of people, and I'm not having this for 1 second, blaming all this on Eddie Howe. I've seen ridiculous comments saying, Howe's a control freak. He wants everything his way. And maybe it's Eddie Howe that's the problem. Hadaway and shite, right? This manager has achieved this season the greatest season that I've ever had as a Newcastle United fan since I've been alive. And the man is a legend. And I will not, for 1 second, turn my back on Eddie Howe and start blaming him because Paul Mitchell's walked away. Like, no way. I mean, what? Come on.
Do we let him steer the whole ship?
Well, no.
I don't want him at the wheel of the entire ship. Let him control the main rudder or the sail, but I don't want him behind the wheel because that's not his job.
Well, I don't think he's got enough time in the day to do it anyway, Stato. I mean, he's a football man 24/7.
Yeah,
24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. Where does he get the time to do this?
Who's going to be who's going to negotiate the contracts and things like that? Is it going to be Nixon? Is it going to be the chairman himself?
Tyndall. You will take £1 a week.
but I
like
think,
FIFA, where Tyndall turns up in a tracksuit to a posh dinner.
Yeah. but the turn on Eddie, Alex, some fans have and blame Eddie, saying he's a control freak, he wants it all to himself. I think is a little harsh.
I don't think anybody's got the right to be happy or sad because unfortunately we don't know. We don't know. This is all speculation. Like maybe Eddie Howe maybe he's been brilliant and he's tried to play nice and he's tried to compromise and do this and this. And maybe Paul Mitchell was the difficult one. We don't know. We have no idea. So it's impossible to be frustrated or angry because it's just going to be misdirected emotion because we just don't have the facts.
The one problem
the journalist, unfortunately.
Exactly. But the one problem I have, Sam, come these 10 days when the window's open and we don't sign anybody, I think there's going to be ructions. I genuinely do.
That out there into the ether.
Well, no, because me and Billy discussed this earlier. In the past, Newcastle have been very, very slow on transfers to get players in and have lost players in the past because they've dragged the heels. Now, Eddie made a point of saying a couple of weeks ago in a press conference that he wants them in early. He wants Newcastle to go aggressive and bring players in. So I think this 10 days that the window's open is going to say a hell of a lot to us as fans as to what's going on. You know, have we already got deals in? Has Mitchell done a job before he's now resigning or not?
You would like to think Mitchell has always been doing a job in the background. This isn't a work a couple of months in the year and then the rest of the time you're there for PR stunts. Absolutely not. My mindset, and I would like to think that given his CV, he would like to actually deliver something and be proud of what he's leaving behind for the club. Otherwise, the rumour mills start and he'll jeopardise these future recruitment chances for him getting a job, not anybody else. So I think it's left a bad taste in fans' mouths, rightfully so. I'm pissed off about it. I really wanted him to stay for the long haul and be true to his word. We haven't seen that. This timing is terrible. We've waited 3 windows for this and you're choosing now. So it must have been something bad. I'm putting it out there. My personal opinion, so there's been some type of ruction. I
agree.
Gone on.
but we'll never know. But well, we might eventually know. But
can I
agree.
just off the back of what Sam just said? I know we want to wrap this up at some point, but
Yep.
realistically, when Paul Mitchell joined us, there would have been a sit down and a conversation saying, "Look, we're going to need to tidy up the money before we can go and push again. You're going to have to be on board with that. B, you're going to have to work with Eddie Howe." They would all have sat around and agreed this and talked about strategy, signings, recruitment. And they will have all said, look, the goal is to try and qualify for the Champions League again. And then when and if we do, this is then going to be the plan. And they've all signed off on this together 12 months ago. To now, all of a sudden, 2 days after qualifying, we've all gone, oh, no, sorry, I don't want to do that anymore. That is ridiculous. And quite honestly, I think it's pathetic. Something's gone wrong with someone. We don't know who, but somebody's shit the bed with this, and it's not good enough because they've all sat around a big boardroom table in a fancy castle in a big meeting, and they've all gone, yes, we are all aligned. This is the way we're going to move forward. And as soon as we get to a pivotal point, we have to get this window right for the progress of the next 3 years. It's important. And it's not good enough. Someone's going to have to take the rap for it because it's bullshit, quite honestly.
Yeah. But if Paul Mitchell's bringing the list of players back to Eddie Howe, and Eddie Howe's saying no to him, I'm just supposing here.
Well, then he needs bringing into the boardroom saying, look, you shouldn't have signed off on this 12 months ago if you weren't going to play ball.
Maybe he did.
You know?
But in those situations, that's where higher leadership steps in. You know, is the middle person to actually have an adult conversation about what is best for the club. There is nobody at this club, not one player, not Eddie, not Mitchell, who is bigger than the club. And that's what people need to focus on. So forget everybody else. We can hire somebody in to fill that role. No one's bigger than the club and the badge.
Absolutely. And do you know what? I think something has happened. When this meeting we know there was a meeting took place on Sunday night after the Everton game. We know that. Everybody's reported that. So I think something's gone on. There's been a disagreement somewhere along the line, or there's been a falling out, and Mitchell's just said, look, I'm walking away. I don't believe it's because Darren Eales is leaving. Well, it is in a way, because if Darren Eales is the only shoulder he's got in that boardroom and everyone else is supporting Howe, then if there's a power struggle...
But why would we be walking away after the meeting, though, Paul? I don't get it. Because
I don't get it either. I'm just putting
we would have had a pre-agreed direction if we qualified.
Yeah, I know.
So why are we suddenly all not playing nice? You are right.
I don't think they get on. I don't think they. And if you think about the Town Moore reception,
there's been too much.
He mentioned all and sundry. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry, except Paul Mitchell when he was kind of.
Well, this should have been binned off in January. Then this should have been binned off earlier.
It should have been dealt with earlier. We should
have cut the head off the Hydra before it got this far. Because now we're days away from the start of the window, and the fan base is panicking a little bit. I'm panicking. Because we've got no idea. We've got no proper statement or direction from the club as to, don't worry, guys, we've got this.
Well, Toon Assassin makes a good point, Alex, saying that, we knew everybody knew Darren Eales was leaving. Everybody knew. So why is it now he's saying it's because Darren Eales is leaving that he's also leaving? It doesn't add up at all.
That for me just Mitchell started to take notice of who's the voices in the room backing him, and if it was always Darren, then you've got a problem. It might be that when it was two of them together, you need a voice backing you up in a boardroom to back your opinion. And if everybody else is against you and you've got the man who's leaving backing you, you then have a serious problem in terms of what you do for your job. You're either going to get sacked, have to leave anyway, so cut your losses and do it now. I'm confused by this. I'm very curious to see what Bunce is going to do next, because wasn't he Mitchell's guy as well?
Yeah, he was.
Maybe the next one to leave? Well, maybe it's a new CEO who wants to bring his own director of football in with them.
Wasn't it that? What was her name? Rachel, whatever from Man United.
Somebody, yeah.
If that's true, this should have been done ages ago.
Yeah, not a few days before the first part of the window opens.
No,
it makes no sense.
Stinks. I mean, it doesn't look very good, does it?
It doesn't. No,
horrifically unprofessional.
But I'm sure it's not the end of it. We will continue to talk about it at some point. We've got a few super chats to go through. Toon Assassin, Mitchell, all speculations too many to count. So let's move past this. Get the window business done for next season. It's as simple as that. Ricky Thomas says maybe it wasn't who Eddie wanted to buy, it's who he wanted to keep. Mitchell's record speaks for itself. His hands were tied from day one in more ways than one. Michael McIntyre, thanks for nothing. Goodbye. Toon. Gary Clark says, thing is, everything Alex said could be a piece of it. Humans are complicated. Trophy Hunter says, I have a theory. The talks yesterday don't fit what Mitchell wanted, and backing isn't there financially wise, which is why he's leaving. Peter Garthwaite said, could the club be going to move Eddie Howe into the boardroom and bring in an elite coach? Peter! Why would Eddie Howe go into the boardroom? He's a football manager. Oh, and Eddie Howe is an elite coach. He's won a trophy and got us in the Champions League, for the love of God.
In charge of the pies and bringing in an elite coach.
I mean, Frosty Hammer says, have you guys covered long-term options cover eventually replaced Joe Linton on a transfer show? Felt we missed Big Joe when he was unavailable. John Cook says, the days of all-powerful manager controlling everything are long gone. No one has the capacity to do it all. And Ian Skinner says, could it be that Eel's replacement wants his own director of football, and so Mitchell has to go? Well, questions will continue to be asked, and if any answers come around, you'll hear it first right here on the Toon Review. Right, let's get into the season just gone then.
Mitchell, 10.
For that Kelly deal.
Just for
Give
the
him
Lloyd
the
Kelly.
10.
Just for the Lloyd Kelly. 20 million for Lloyd Kelly. Holy hell. How do you think, given, when the season started, Sam, we'll start with you. How do you think the first few games went? How were you feeling after the first 5 or 6 games?
Oh, how out. Get him out of the club, get him out of the Northeast. That was it.
You weren't happy.
The start of the season was shocking. I think I said this the other day. I had to look at some of the numbers, and it was from I think the beginning of the season, August until November, we took 16 points out of a potential 36. It was dire. Even mid-season, very mixed results. Wins, a garnishing of wins and mostly draws and losses. Like it was poor. We've done it, but we've done it in a really ugly way. So I would like to see some more finesse, some composure. We need something tactically to change and shift with Eddie.
It seemed to me, Billy, that we were relying on wonder goals to get the points, weren't we? I think Eddie's alluded to that many times, that we didn't play well at the start, and we were having to rely on really special goals to get points.
Yeah, we had a good start of the season results-wise, but performance-wise, wasn't great at all, was it? And it's only been like a really good spell. We made that, was it 9 games where we kind of went and beaten, but we did play well in. And the cup run and the Carabao Cup, where we've really shown our full potential. And other times we've been lackadaisical, not interested, or just not performing up to the standard. So it's been a really, really strange season. But look at the record. We've got a cup and we win Champions League. So imagine if we did play well for the whole season, we'd be champions now. Yeah.
Alex, was there any particular games that stand out to you early doors that were really frustrating or really, really good?
The 2 games against Brighton and Everton, where we accumulated 2 XG in both, and we should have won both games, and that would have put us out of sight in 2nd or 3rd place comfortably. And that was specifically 2 games. Obviously, Anthony Gordon missed a pen in one of them, but we vastly outperformed those teams in terms of open play opportunities, chances from set pieces, shots. There were certain games this season where we played fine, and it just wasn't our day at all, and it happened too many times. And then we had games where we just, for whatever reason, we were shocking. The West Ham games, the Brentford game, there was a few, and a couple of other Brighton performances as well. We were poor against Brighton in most. For some reason, we played down to their level. I don't quite know why. Those were the things specifically. Yeah, but specifically, it was that double Brighton and Everton. They both should have been 6 points, hands down. And that changes our season. And that's before you factor in some of the other ones we could have sorted out as well. So, frustrating.
I think the turning point was the Brentford defeat down there when we got hammered. And a lot of players have alluded to that a lot of harsh words were said between the group, not necessarily with Eddie around. And then Eddie has since said that he did have sort of one-to-one talks with each individual, and then as a group. And I think that's when we went on the win and run. I still don't think we played incredible football during that win and run, but we were a lot stronger.
We were better.
Yeah,
but I never.
Some of it we played quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think, you know, we have to praise the coaches, staff, and the players for actually, you know, pulling the finger out their asses, because they could have just sulked around thinking, why is everything going wrong for us? But we did turn it around. Now, what I want to do is I want to put a poll up for the viewers, and this is for the Toon Review Viewers Player of the Year. We need 4 players for the Player of the Year, for the TTR Player of the Year. TTR Viewers Player of the Year.
I think Isak gets him by default for his goal scoring.
Tenali.
Big Dan Burn.
Right, well, Isak's definitely going in for his goals.
Mike Davis, Longstaff. Sure up, man.
Tenali, definitely.
Tenali,
So we need
Billy's
2
putting
more.
Burn in. I mean,
Is Dan Burn going in? What about Lewis Hall?
Well, this is what I'm thinking. He's missed a lot of.
3 months of the season.
Yeah, Bruno's been
Yeah,
hot and
yeah.
cold. Lewis Hall's missed a bit of the season. Murphy and Burn, both considerations. I'm not saying they should be in, but so what have we got so far? Isak, Tenali. So we've got 2.
I think Murphy's got to be in there because of his contributions. I mean, he has to be.
Yeah, I think Barnes and Gordon have only done well in parts. And that's it.
It's got to be
Joe
Burn.
Linton's
If
not
he
been
managed to
available
get
as
himself in
much.
the England squad, scored a goal in the cup final.
Yeah,
Been
Burn and
outstanding
Murphy.
99% of the season.
Yeah, it's got to be
Right.
Burn and Murphy. I don't
There
think
you
we
go.
can put Bruno in, really, can
Are
we?
we really? Is Isak not in the
Yeah,
Yeah, he's in.
Yeah, he's in.
He's in.
Isak, Tenali, Burn, and Murphy. That's your
I'd
4.
like to put
ladies
Hall
and
in, but he missed
missed the
quite a
last
lot of
3
football
months, yeah.
after the cup
did.
final. So
Yeah, disappointing. Tino Liveramento's had a brilliant season as well. But I think, you know, the story of Dan Burn, the way Murphy's just come from nowhere this season, and Tenali, and of course Isak's goals. But
People saying
Livramento
Tino.
has only been.
Yeah, I was about to
Dominic.
say that. Before he went to left back, and it's been fantastic the past since Lewis Hall got injured.
Yeah.
Before that, it was dodgy, I thought.
He was hot and cold as a right back, definitely.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. That is it for the TTR Viewers Player of the Year. Is it Isak, Tenali, Burn, or Murphy? The poll is up there now, so get yourselves voting, and we'll come to that at the end of the show. Now, of course, there was something happened in February where it had been something of a Carabao Cup final, and we ended our domestic wait of 70 years for a trophy. I'm going to play the montage in a second to take everybody back because it was a very emotional time. And so many people have asked me to play this again because they haven't seen it for a while. And, you know, that just take us back to that special day at Wembley. Sam, obviously you were with Alex in a fan zone in Newcastle. Take us back to your emotions at that final whistle.
Just tears of joy. It was unbelievable. And I think that final eternity 10 minutes that we had, like you could barely even watch that final 10 minutes. And then when the whistle blew, it was just elation of so many people in the same place, all with such love for the club. And, you know, people were talking about people who couldn't be there, sadly, who've either passed or in different places around the world.
Yeah.
You know, I got to see it with my dad. You know, Stato's missus was there with us as well. It was just beautiful. And we were just hugging so many strangers. And it was, honestly, the best day ever.
Apparently, the final was in March. All right, February, March. Who gives a shit? We won the cup. Dear me, why are some people so? Ooh. Anyway, so we won the cup in March. Billy, I was doing the commentary with you. I was completely lost for words. I didn't know what to say when we won it. It's something we're not used to. Billy, you completely broke down because it was such, the emotions just came right to the surface.
Yeah, and I think about it now, and I'm going that way again, I think.
Well, you probably will when you see the montage. I know what you're like.
It was just a fantastic day, wasn't it? And it wasn't unexpected for me, and I was confident all along that we'd beat Liverpool in that final.
You were.
And to see us play the way we did, was just it was not just enjoyment, but it was pride, huge pride in that performance that set of lads put out that day, fantastically managed by the manager, and a great couple of goals as well, and just a perfect day. And then when the final whistle finally went, 2 minutes after it should have done, everything just came out.
Alex,
change.
Alex, you were obviously in the fan zone. I mean, what was your emotions at that final whistle?
It was pretty interesting, to say the least. Yeah, Sam was right. It was hugging lots and lots of strangers, and my glasses fell off and got trampled all over the floor and had to get salvaged by my wife. So that was interesting. It was, and I didn't care. It was absolutely, it was just crazy. It's a one in a lifetime feeling, I think, because I don't think trophy number 2 is going to feel like that.
Oh, I think it will.
I think it's going to be very. No, I don't think it will.
Yeah, it depends what it is. Yeah, I mean, we haven't.
Well, even then, I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I think that's.
Everybody remembers
special.
the first time.
Do they?
Love it.
Honestly. Anyway, let's play the montage. Let's take us back to that special day in March where Newcastle United finally ended 70 years of domestic hurt. Sit back, enjoy, and take yourselves back to that incredible day. There you go. God, does that not take you back? Unbelievable. How are you feeling after watching that again?
That Keegan thing really got me.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, if a quote has ever meant something in life, then that certainly is it. When Keegan said that, and you will get your club back one day, boy, oh boy. I mean, when I was putting that together after the final, it was so emotional for me putting it together like that, because seeing all the different photos and putting them together as a montage, and it's kind of, holy shit, it's like it's actually happened. I'm sorry for those people that are blubbering like babies again in the chat, but that's what it's all about. I mean, Joel says he still watches Paul and Billy's final whistle reaction at least twice a week. Oh, she's gone again. Sam's away. I mean, it is incredible. Billy, words and the experience. None of us were actually at Wembley, but we all experienced it in very different ways. Sam and Alex are at the fan zone. We commentated on it. Our hearts were there, souls were there, and so were the many thousands that couldn't get tickets. But that final whistle, Billy, is something I think that will be treasured in our hearts forever. It was
just a weird experience, wasn't it? I mean, we had kind of plenty of time to kind of build up for it, but still, especially once they'd scored, it was literally squeaky arse time. We could see Liverpool do it. How many times they'd done it before? And yet those 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever it was afterwards, I thought we controlled the game really well. And when the referee's final whistle, it was relief. But it was just, I was thinking about my dad. I was thinking about all sorts, You
do. You think of family who aren't there. I thought of Dave Harrison immediately.
Yeah.
And I recently watched I was looking back at old videos, and I recently watched the one that we did on the night time that Dave passed away. And that was incredibly emotional because I was in bits that night and broke down numerous times on the show. But then you look back and you think, wow, he wanted to see that. And, you'd be looking down, unbelievably proud of Newcastle United, proud of where this channel is now and things like that. And it does take you back. And Sam, even after the euphoria after winning the cup was incredible.
Oh my goodness. I mean, obviously Alex and I you watched it at the fan zone, and then we made our way up to St. James's. And I tell you what, being at the stadium on that evening, that was something so special. So many fans, the cars going past, beeping the horns. It was elation. It was just vibrating. It was as if everybody was operating at this heightened frequency because of all the hard times, because of all the misfortune that we've had in the past. And this was our moment, and people getting to enjoy it together. We were chanting outside the stadium. Oh God, it was unbelievable. It was just unbelievable.
It was. And Alex, again, you went to the stadium with Sam. The whole atmosphere was just incredible, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, I don't want to put a downer on other clubs' parades.
But you're
going to.
I'm going to.
Probably not time to. So.
Well, no, and I don't mean that in any insensitive way to the awful things that have happened recently in Liverpool.
No,
so that is not at all connected to what I'm going to say.
Absolutely.
But I'm just referencing the fact that obviously it's a one club city, and I think it's a very different vibe. It was weird. It was like I was in a movie. I think we were all in a movie where taxi drivers, Uber drivers, bus drivers, people wandering around who weren't into the football, people in shops, students and people who'd got nothing to do with the football at all. The entire city just
came together.
Just went. Yeah. Everybody was beeping, cheering, driving around the wrong way, radios on. It was mental. It was surreal. It's just weird. It's the only time I've ever seen anything like that in my life, where an entire city is just on the same page and euphoric all at the same time. It's very rare you get people especially once you're not a child anymore, people crying or screaming or shouting or really letting their voice go as an adult, and an entire city just did it all in the same day. And it was so weird and unique. And this is why I don't think trophy number 2 is going to be like that, because that is it's like Billy said, it was relief. It was weird.
Massively.
It wasn't just celebration. It was also the relief as well, which we're not going to get that the second time. It was odd in such a magnificent way, and it's very special, and it's going to be that one of a kind, I think, that one.
Well, we know how the rest of the season went. It was a bit of a roller coaster. It ended up being a real squeaky arse time at the end of Sunday's game, of course. But we made it. We got into the Champions League, an absolutely incredible season. Absolutely unbelievable to win a cup and be in the Champions League. Now, I don't know if anybody saw this, but there was somebody driving around on a sofa
the bench
in Newcastle. Would you look who it was? They've been identified.
You and Granny.
It was me and Granny. Thank you to Susan for putting that together. But yeah, that was something really strange. But Susan decided to impose me on there, and now I'm driving around Newcastle on a sofa. Which
I love this city.
Quite bizarre. Yeah.
I love this setting.
A couple of more. Dan Brown's been a member for 36 months on the channel. Thank you, Dan. The music they put over the match cam video of the final doesn't help you to keep the tears in either. I know. Toon Assassin said that Carabao Cup win nearly killed me. On the piss that day. Next day, St. Patrick's. Next day, my birthday. Living in Vegas didn't help. Took 2 weeks to recover from that. I was mortal. Gary Clark says, no joke, I'm a high blood pressure patient. My pulse spiked from the emotions that day. I'm better now, but what a way to go out that would have been. Well, it nearly happened to me in the semi-final when bloody Isak scored. I had a bloody mini stroke. So, hey, Newcastle will almost kill you. There's no doubt about it. Right. Now we're going to tackle the player ratings. So take part in this, guys. Let me know what you think and whether you agree with my esteemed colleagues on their final voting for the players. Some of the averages for the year are going to make people quite surprised. We'll start off with Nick Pope. What would you give Nick Pope out of 10 for this season, Sam?
Oh,
now just to be clear, I've only included players who have played, I think, more than 5 or 6 times. So Matt Targett's not there, if anybody's wondering. He didn't score very well anyway. We'll just Nick Pope, Sam.
I am gonna say, end of season was great. It's 7.
Okay, Billy.
I agree. Yeah, 7. His end of the season was fantastic. Looked a bit shaky before that, and and injuries and stuff. But yeah, the last 3 months, Carabao Cup final onwards, thought he was fantastic.
Alex,
am I guessing what I think we've scored him?
No, you're not guessing that.
Or
you're giving him a rating for the season.
Okay, I'm gonna go with a. I'll go with a 7. I think that's fair. I think the rating might be a tiny bit lower than that, but considering he came back after Dubravka's resurgence, he's been fine. He did very well. Helped us win a cup. So yeah, I'll go with a 7.
Well, his end of season average rating from all our player ratings for the season was 7.1.
There you go.
Pretty good then, weren't we?
Yeah.
Don't speak too soon.
He did have 2 or 3 difficult months early doors, so that's probably not helped it.
Martin Dubravka, Sam.
I am going to say an 8 for Dubs.
8?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, look, he was great when he came in. Billy, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. 8. Yeah, he had an outstanding section of the season, didn't he? And
he did.
For lots of reasons. I guess he was very unlucky not to get a game in that cup final, but he didn't.
Yeah. Alex?
Yeah, I think 8's a good shout. I think for what we would have rated him and for what he deserves, He came in and helped us with a 9-win streak, which is a huge reason why we've got Champions League football. So he deserves loads of credit. I'll go with an 8.
Well, over the season, we scored him 7.7. So very, very close, guys. So 7.7 for Martin Dubravka over the season. Kieran Trippier, Sam.
Oh, I'm gonna go for a am I? In it. Oh, 6.
6. Billy?
7.5. I think we've missed him the last couple of games of the season. And I thought, again, like Pope, last 3 months of the season, I thought he was really good.
Alex?
6.9.
No, you can either score him 6 or 6.5 or a 7, Alex. You can't go 6.9.
That's not fair, because then we can never be correct if you're giving us the exact decimal.
Oh my goodness, you are that guy, Alex. Jesus Christ.
Shit. Yeah, but if you say 7 and it's 6.9, and it's good, close
what's
enough,
the point? Because I can't win. Just have a guess, man.
Well, yeah. What's the point in playing if you can't win?
You're giving him a rating for the season, Alex. Just do it.
Yeah, I think he deserves just shy of a 7, because I think he's struggled. I'll go with a 7, but I think he struggled in parts in the start of the season.
We got there.
And then he was better in the second half of the season. I'll go with a 7. Mate, if you say 6.9, I'm going to screw.
Is it?
We voted him on our player ratings for the season 7.
Oh, there you go.
I bet it's not. I bet it's a 6.9 on that piece of paper.
No, it's 7.0, Alex. I'm looking at my spreadsheet right now. It's 7. All right, so there you go. Okay, let's move on to Tino Livramento, Sam.
7.5.
Okay,
Billy?
Dodgy, wasn't he, for a long time this season, but fantastic at the end. Yeah, I think 7.5 is fair.
Okay. Alex?
I'm going to go with a 7 again, because I think he had a poor first half, struggled at right back, was a bit inconsistent, and then we will have rated him considerably higher. Second half of the season, really good as a left back. I think it will average out, and he deserves probably about a 7.
Can I just say, by the way, this took me bloody hours to do, because I had to go through every game this season, because stupid me didn't start the spreadsheet at the start of the season. He waited until the season finished and then started the spreadsheet.
You can have a clap, Paul, because I've done that before. I know that must have taken absolutely ages.
It was horrific.
I don't know whether you were being condescending there, Alex. I thought you were like...
Absolutely not, because he will have had to have done 11 times 38 plus cup games.
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
That will have taken so long.
It wasn't easy. It was interesting to go back and look at some of the difference from the start of the season to the end of the season, what the players were getting rated and things like that. It was, but yeah. Right. We voted throughout the season for Tino Livramento an average of 7. So 7 for Tino for the season. Lewis Hall, Sam.
Oh, I am going to say an 8.5.
8.5. Okay. Billy?
Yeah, 8 for me.
Okay. Alex?
I think it's probably an 8, but I want to give him an 8.5 because I think he was sublime. So I'm going 8.5. SofaScore as well. He's our second highest rated player on SofaScore for the whole season, which shows how good he was. So yeah, 8.5.
Well, the Toon Review voted him 7.5 for the season.
Boo.
Well, you're booing yourself, Alex.
Yeah, 100%. We were wrong.
He must have had a real stinker at some point, mustn't he?
Well, yeah, you've got to base it. There was a few stinkers in there. There weren't always like 8s and 9s. Trust me. There was a few low scores in some horrific defeats, which would have affected the season average. Emil Kraft, Sam.
Oh, reliable Kraft. I'm gonna say 6.
6 for Emil. Billy Bob.
Yeah, a lot of them performances would have been a substitute, so we don't generally score too high for them. But it seems like we always give them 7, so I'm going to say 7.
Okay, Alex?
6.5.
6.5. Emil Kraft's average over the season from the Toon Review is 7.
Get in.
Sven Botman, Sam?
8.5.
Okay. Billy?
7.5.
Okay. I mean, you kind of allude on why you're scoring. You don't.
Well, he's not been playing a lot, has he?
I know used to won't go on like a novel like Alex does when he does play.
Really
rating.
No, that's not fair. I haven't spoken yet. You can't throw me under the bus.
Go on then, Alex.
7.
7. 7. Well, the Toon Review, his average score over the season, 8. Right, Dan Burn, Sam.
Hard, this one, isn't it?
Now it's hard because you've got to look at the whole season.
Yeah.
And we ain't been good at certain points of the season.
Do you know what you're talking about, Paul?
No.
What I forget. Are we rating how what I think of him now that I have my rose tinted glasses of Cup and Champions League? What I
need
think
to
we
mark him
rated
over the
him.
season.
Right. Okay. I am going to say a 7.5.
Okay, Billy.
I mean, there's a couple of 10s in there, I reckon.
There's definitely a few 10s in there. Yeah,
There's a couple of 4s in there.
There's
as
also
well.
a couple of 4s, yeah. So in between,
there's a couple of less than 4s. No,
I'll give him 7.
7. Alex.
Yeah, I think 7's fair.
Okay. The Toon Review voted for the season-ending rating for Dan Burn 7.1.
We couldn't get it close, to be fair, could we, start?
I mean, exactly. Yeah.
Well, we're not allowed to. So yeah.
Oh, good old matey.
I was going to say 7.09, to be fair.
By the way, a lot of Newcastle fans saw him saw Dan Burn yesterday.
Yeah, PDP and Lawrence and them, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody posted on Reddit that they bumped into him in the toilet, which
I'm sure Dan Burn was really happy about that.
Yeah.
Fabian Schär, Sam.
I'm going to say a 6.
Okay. Yeah. Billy?
6.5.
And Alex?
A 5.5. I think he had.
Ooh.
I think
Yeah, he did.
75% to 80% of his performances were well below what he should have done. I think his overall season was pretty pants for his standards.
Well, 6.5 seems to be the average coming in from the chat. We over the season have averaged him at 6.3. Okay, and finally for the defenders, Lloyd Kelly.
20 million.
20 million. 10s across
Hang on a minute. So we're not allowed to rate Target, but we're rating somebody.
Lloyd Kelly played a lot more than Matt Target, matey, at the start of the season. Trust me, I was very surprised.
Did he? He made 335 minutes in the Premier League.
Yep, but we've rated him a few times. Get on with it, Sam.
3.
A 3?
Yeah.
Ouch. Okay, Billy.
I'm trying to think when he played. West Ham was definitely 1.
Yeah.
Did he play against Southampton at the start of the season?
He was sub in that game.
I think it's probably a 5.
Okay, Alex.
Yeah, 5. I agree with that.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened to your voice there. But it went.
Well, just having to rate Lloyd Kelly. I mean, he's wearing a different black and white shirt now.
Well, it's very consolation. Miggy's on this, so there you go. Well, Lloyd Kelly, in the games that he played and made substitute appearances, the Toon Review have averaged him at 6.8.
Fucking hell, what was that him for?
There was a few high scores for Lloyd Kelly.
Bloody hell.
Clearly.
Right.
I mean, SofaScore, he got a 6.7 across the season. So,
Yeah, well, we're better than SofaScore. Sean Longstaff, Sam.
Oh. Why do I always have to go first? Because you're a gentleman. I know.
Because ladies first.
Thank you. I am going to say for our Sean, a 3.5.
Now, can I just say that before Christmas, the games that Sean played weren't bad marks.
Yeah, what for being positionally in the right place and man marking? He's a lovely lad. It's genuinely not personal.
Yeah. Billy.
4.5. 4.5.
4.5. Alex.
I think I'll go for 4.5 as well. I think that's probably about right.
5.5. Right. Well, over the season, the Toon Review panel scored Sean Longstaff 5.6.
Ooh.
It's a bit high.
Joe Willock, Sam.
Joe Willock. 4.
Ouch. Billy?
6 for me.
Why you 6, Billy?
Because he's been pretty average for me.
Okay.
Average.
Fair enough. Yeah. Alex?
I'm going to go with a 5.5. He's played more than I thought he had. He's got 1,100 minutes.
Yeah. I got a surprise how many player ratings he was in, to be honest.
Yeah, 300 minutes in the EFL, 150 in the FA Cup, and 1,100 in the Premier League. 2 assists in the Premier League. He got a goal in the Carabao, which ultimately helped us get the cup. So he's made some fairly useful contributions to the season, but 5.5. I think we're always rating him on the fact he was never quite reaching what we wanted him to.
Joel, are you feeling all right, mate? I don't know whether you're way behind or what, but yeah. Joe Willock for the season from the Toon Review scored an average of 6.
Get in there.
Lewis Miley, Sam.
I am going to give little Louis a 6.
6. Billy?
Yeah, I'll give him a 6 as well, yeah.
Okay.
Not
Alex?
as good as last season. Nowhere near as good as last season.
No.
I'd rate him a 5.5. I think he had one really good appearance and the rest was, I don't know, he looked like he wasn't ready this year, which is weird because he was ready the previous season, but then he suddenly, I felt like he regressed in terms of physicality and confidence. And yeah, 5.5.
Well, his final score for the season was 5.8.
Ooh, starts like you're so close to being as close as me and Sam.
Joe Linton, Sam.
Oh, my goodness, that man. Right, okay, I am going to give him a 9. Sorry.
A 9 for the season.
Yeah.
For the whole season, a 9. Wow.
I know. I just think he's just a machine. Love him.
Yeah, he is. Billy Bob?
7.5 for me.
Okay. Why such a difference to Sam's score?
I don't think he was good this year as he was the season before, and I think we've missed him because he hasn't played an awful lot. But at times been a beast, but at times he hadn't. So,
okay, Alex.
I think 7.5. I think he was good. He wasn't available as much as I'd have liked.
Yeah.
And he did take a few games in certain moments of the season to get back to full fitness and physicality. But 7 goal contributions in the Prem, monstrous performances in the Carabao Cup when we needed him, especially against Arsenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, 7.5. It was a good season for him. Like the game number 1 against Southampton, we got 3 points because he won that game on his own.
I thought that was a 1-1 draw for some reason, you know.
We won that 1-0.
I know we were there. I know me and you were there, Alex. I just thought Joe Linton got an equaliser.
We were right in front of the Ben Brereton Diaz fake
Yes, we
headbutt.
were.
We were right in front of it. But yeah,
But
Joe Linton literally won that game on his own. So he had a lot of good moments in the season. So I'll go 7.5.
There was no bad language towards Brereton Diaz from where we were sitting. Alex.
There was a lot.
Joe Linton finished with an average rating for the Toon Review 7.1.
Poor Joe.
7.1. Toon Assassin with another super chat. Detective hat on. We win the cup in March the 16th. March the 17th, Friedman leaves for the Saudi club, Al Dria, who are owned by the Dria company, who are owned by PIF. Maybe we knew about Mitchell back in January. Yeah, we did talk about that on the live show earlier on. That could be a little way of getting him out of Crystal Palace. Right, Bruno. Sam.
Interesting one. I'm going to say a 7.
7. Billy Bob?
8.
Maybe the rating should add it together as well as averaged. Well, you can't add them together. Abs, you can't add the ratings together. No. That's
They've
not.
all played different amount of games.
Not mean anything.
Yeah, they've all played different amount of games, Abs. So
Yeah, you can't. It's very difficult to do that. Billy, what did you say for Bruno?
I said 8 because we generally mark Bruno high, strange enough.
Well, Abs wouldn't agree with you. Certainly when I voted for him. Anyway, Alex, Bruno.
I don't think he will have managed to get higher than a 7 overall ratings. And then my personal belief on his season as well. I think there were a lot of 6 and 6.5 performances, a few 7s, a few games where he picked up. He's lost us points directly through losing the ball and being silly and funny back passes. He did it back in the last year as well on occasion. Few games where we needed him to be a little bit more of a captain than he was. Yeah, not his strongest year, and I do agree with what was said the other day that Tonali's the new shiny toy, and the shine's been taken a little bit off of Bruno, as good as he still is. So yeah, I think he's probably about a 7.
Well, the Toon Review averaged Bruno for the season at 7.6.
Very high.
Sandro Tonali, Sam.
9.
Straight out the back with a 9. Billy Bob?
Well, he's a 9.5 for me, but I'm thinking that over the season we'd probably average him a little bit less than that. So I'll say 8.5.
8.5. Alex?
Yeah, I don't care what he's going to average out at. I think he deserves a 9 because there's only been a couple of games where he's dropped the ball. Pretty much every time he steps on that pitch, he looks like he's playing a different game to everybody else. So a 9.
Well, the Toon Review averaged Sandro Tonali for the season at 8.2. I mean, that's incredible. That's incredible for a season, though. Come on, 8.2.
Well, it isn't a season, is it? Let's be honest. He didn't play the first.
Well, he didn't play the first. Yeah, and then he was substitute for a while as well. Let's not forget that. Harvald Barnes, Sam.
It's Barnabas.
Harvald.
Harvald.
Yeah, this is an interesting one actually. I am gonna say, probably like hued glasses on as well, a 7.5.
Okay. Billy, now it's fair to say that you were not a fan of Harvey Barnes at the start of the season. So
pre-Christmas, I'd probably give him a 2. But he's come good, hasn't he? So
yeah,
I agree with Sam. I think 7.5 over the whole season.
All right, Alex.
Yeah, 14 goal contributions in all comps. We wouldn't be where we are without him. We were very unsure about his contributions out of possession and pressing and speed, but then he just kind of went, whatever, I'm just going to score instead, sod the rest of it. And he did it a lot of times. 9 goals in the Premier League is lots of goals. Considering he only played 1,700 minutes in the Prem, it's really, really impressive. Yeah, I'll go with, I think as high as an 8, just for how impactful he was in big games. The stretch where we needed to wrestle our season back.
Yeah,
it was him and Dubravka were the two that kind of came in and helped turn everything around to a degree.
Yeah.
I'll go with an 8. I think he deserves a really high mark.
Well, over the season, the Toon Review scored an average rating of for Harvey Barnes, 6.9.
Where's that shame bell from Game of Thrones?
Oh, it's
Anybody
very
seen
low.
it? Shame.
Very low.
Shame.
Right. Anthony Gordon.
Oh,
Sam.
Gordon, jeez, he's had a really tough season. I've said it before. I don't think that England spell did him well. Then the last one, injured. After that, like his mentality, his mantra, all the research that he does in the background ain't helped him this season. I think sort of shown a little bit of immaturity this year, unfortunately. So I am going to give Gordon a 6.
Okay. Billy?
Over the season, 7.
Okay. Alex?
Yeah, I think over the course of a season, a 7, 15 goal contributions. I did check it after yesterday's debacle.
it is 15.
It's 100% 15.
It is 15, yeah.
Scored big goals in the Carabao Cup against Arsenal. Him and Isak together just rocked them, led us to the trophy, essentially, those two. And yeah, 15 goal contributions for Gordon and 14 for Barnes. So the two of them practically just shy of 30 for both of the two left wingers is fantastic. They rotated well. So I think 7 in a season that I think we can all agree was a tough one for Anthony Gordon in terms of injuries, a bit of attitude, maybe not quite working, struggling to get into games as a sub, trying to force it a bit.
Yeah.
To get a 7 and 15 goal contributions is still fantastic.
Did you hear Harvey Barnes' score, Billy?
No, what was it?
6.9.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Anthony Gordon finished with an average rating from the Toon Review of 6.9. Exactly the same as Harvey Barnes.
Pretty much the same
they
output.
Were
as
very
well.
close. Yeah, same output and similar. Jacob Murphy, Sam.
Um,
Man, that noise again.
I
Sure,
don't know what
the hell
was.
that was.
Sounded like Alex earlier.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you know what? This lad, you can't call it a purple patch. He's had a really good season. Everybody has an off day. Yes, he's had a couple of them, but he's been absolutely tremendous. I think when I last looked at some statistics on him, he was something like the third for goal contributions in the Premier League, which is absolutely phenomenal. Would we be where we are without his contributions? I don't think so. So I'm going to give the lad an 8 for the season.
8 for the season. Billy Bob?
Hard to think because, for want of a better saying, I gave him 1 on the other day. And there's been other games where he's had 1s and 2s, but
Wasn't the first time you did that, Billy?
most of the times he's been really, really good. So average 7.5.
Okay. Alex?
Yeah, Billy's not wrong. We've done a few really low marks. I mean, Jacob Murphy is on 23 goal contributions in all competitions, which is just outrageous.
Yeah.
It's outrageous. I think for the season, he deserves probably an 8.5. I think. I don't think we've given him that on averages, but I think that's probably what he deserves. Him and Miggy, let's be honest, at the start of the year, were probably both fighting for the same spot. And Murphy just went, nah, this is my position, and just had it for the entire year. Howe tried to experiment with the right wing in the first few games, and Murphy just went, no, this is me. And he bossed it for the whole year. Yeah, 8.5. It was fantastic. Best season of his career, I think he will ever have. And Jacob, go and prove us wrong and do something better next year. But yeah, amazing.
Well, just
in a cup final as well.
Oh, you need to go, Sam, do you?
Yeah, sorry. I need to
right.
take care of Mama.
Yeah, it's all right. You get yourself away. We'll see you soon.
Sorry, everyone.
See
See
you
you
later,
later.
Take care. Right. Well, the season voting for Jacob Murphy, 6.3.
Oh,
Wow.
It's because his bad games were so bad. That's the problem.
His ratings at the start of the season were not good. They were not good at the start of the season. So that's probably affected him. Miggy Almiron, Billy.
I think he probably averaged what he is, and that's probably about a 3.5.
Okay. Alex?
Miggy Almiron.
Never sing that again on this channel.
I'm
When
not-
he
I'm
gets
not-
the ball, he shoots.
I thought he
it
scored.
into
I thought he scored 3 goals then, and I've realised that's goals in the MLS. No, that don't count. I mean, he's got quite a lot of minutes. To be fair, he's got
He has.
Way too
about
many.
500-ish minutes, and he's got
Way too many. That's
sodding-
right, Billy. Way too
Yeah, about
many.
500 minutes with nothing to show for it. I mean, he when did he come on? Was it against Arsenal when we did 5-5? I think that's got to be my favourite tactical moment of live football ever. Is Miggy running on the pitch and going
Yeah.
to tell the rest of the team how we were going to shape up
So,
to see
yeah.
the remainder of the game out.
Telling the Arsenal side what we were doing as well as every millions watching around the world.
The entire media.
Yeah.
But yeah, a couple of astute defensive performances contributed with a bit of energy to see certain games out, which we needed. So his contribution was useful this season and necessary. However, he didn't do a lot. I'll go with a 4.
Well, he averaged from the Toon review 4.5.
Oh, Stato, well done, mate.
There you go.
Now, Alexander Isak, Billy.
I mean, some of the scores he's had of late have been really, really poor, but the amount of goals that fella scored this season, some of the performances have been outstanding.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard one to try and think of an average over the season, so I'm going to say 7.5.
Okay. Alex?
10.
Well, he should be a 10, but he won't be, will he?
10. No, I know he's not, but I'm rating him for the season, and he's got 29 goal contributions and scored in a cup final as a striker.
And remember, what people have to think about is that these are all averaged from our player ratings from individual games. So that's
an amalgamation of everything.
Yes,
but people have got to remember that when you sort of read all these articles and watch all these TV panels and pundits talk about, can Erling Haaland do it in a big final? Can Icardi or Martinez or Lukaku or whenever they talk about all these different strikers around Europe? Well, Isak's done it. Isak scored in a big final against Liverpool. And he's got 29 goal contributions in the league, and he's the most in-demand striker in Europe right now. So 10, absolutely 10.
Well, Alexander Isak's season average from the Toon review, 6.5.
I'm not surprised. He's had some stinkers of late, and we've definitely marked him down because of that. And if he hasn't scored, he had some
stinkers early doors as well, Billy. Which
I do need to grab a charger real quick. Hang on.
Okay, mate.
Yeah, if he's not scored, he's generally getting 3s and 4s.
But the start of the season as well has been, some of his ratings weren't great, but it's incredible, really, when you look at 6.5. The goals he's actually scored has been absolutely phenomenal.
Yep.
I was amazed actually when I did the averages today and saw that. I was absolutely amazed. But we know he's been playing for a long time with an injury. Certainly the back end of the season, it wasn't the same Isak that we saw earlier on in the season when he was scoring goals. But he was very absent in certain games, and that's. Again, you're just marking on and thinking, wow, crazy. Right, so 6.5 for Alexander Isak. Callum Wilson, Billy.
Yeah, I hate saying it, but I mean, he's done nothing all season, has he? Let's be honest, he's either been injured or coming back from injury, or when he has come back from injury, he just looks as if he's still injured. So I would give him a 10 for the fact he's been a fantastic servant for us over his career, but for the last season, I'm going to give him a 3, and that's being generous, I think.
Yeah, Alex.
Well, I've been looking at the SofaScore stuff for the rankings, and Isak is number 1 in our player ratings for the season on SofaScore. We've got 24 entries of players, and Callum is 24th. So the fact that I think that's a big indication of how much it's changed, because 12 to 18 months ago, the two of them were fighting for the same place.
Yeah.
And it did keep rotating because they were both in, they were both out, they were doing quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And now to go from Isak as first and Wilson as 24th in the ratings is just terrible for him. But I can't say I disagree with it. He's got, in my opinion, a fairly lucky goal in the FA Cup.
He was lucky as well, wasn't he?
Well,
Yeah.
Asula's
not a lot else.
Asula's miss was horrendous. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, blind God.
I'll go with a 3, but I'm gutted to give him a 3, but I'm going to go with a 3. It's not a good year for him, really not.
Well, the Toon review average for Callum Wilson for the season 3.9. He is the lowest rated player in the squad.
Have we done long stuff here?
Yeah. We did long stuff. 5.6.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. We did, Billy. Will Asula, Billy.
Yeah, I think he'll score quite highly, because I think whenever we've seen him, he's looked very bright, hasn't he? And although most of them have been substitute appearances, when he has started, he's looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll probably give him. I think over the season we probably rated him as a 7.
Okay, Alex.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think he's looked very, very raw in a lot of games, but then we've started to see a little bit more from him.
I love
really
the rawness,
impressive
performance. He gets you off your seat to Sula because you just don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, no, 100%. But he's starting to show a little bit more refinement in certain areas, but he still is quite raw. The goal against who was it against Ipswich? I think it was against Ipswich. The header was really
the header,
impressive.
Yeah, but he scored in the cup against Brentford as well,
and then scored against Birmingham City in the cup as well.
Yeah.
Did he score against Birmingham?
No, he didn't. It was Brentford he scored against at St James's House. So that cut in.
Well, I remember the performance against.
He should have scored against Birmingham before Callum Wilson scored.
Yeah, I think he was part of about 20 ground duels or something against Birmingham City. Yeah, he went on the right wing and he went to war. He absolutely went to war. And yeah, I'll go with the 7. I thought it was exciting seeing flashes of him, and I do hope he gets. I want to see at least 1,500 minutes out of him next season. Because we've got more competitions, more games. I think he's a really exciting player. So 7.
Scored against Bromley as well, says Robert.
He was outstanding against Chelsea as well in the Carabao Cup when he came on, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's got a Prem goal, an FA Cup goal, and 2 assists in the FA Cup as well.
Okay. Right. It was Brentford. It wasn't Bromley. He didn't score against Bromley, did he? Or was it Bromley cut in and smashed it in?
I can tell you in a second. It was
Brentford was in the Carabao Cup. So
2 assists were against Birmingham, and the goal it was Bromley. Yeah, 3-1 victory over Bromley, 12th of January.
Yeah.
Did he not score in the Carabao Cup?
No, I was thinking it was Brentford, but it was Bromley. Anyway, the Toon review averaged Will Asula for the season 6.9. So dead on with your 7s. And finally, the manager. Eddie Howe. Billy.
I mean, he's a 10 because he's won us a trophy and he's got a Champions League football.
Yeah.
The average score for him is probably a lot different to that. So I'll go for what I think the average will be. 7.5.
Okay. Alex?
I mean, I again agree with Billy. I think it should be a 10, but I think we've probably gone closer to.
But you know, we've had some.
I think we've probably gone 7.5 to an 8, maybe.
Okay. I mean, people have to remember that we mark each game, and if the game's been stinking, or remember there was a lot of questions about Eddie Howe's substitutions and stuff earlier on in the season.
It's all well and good people with hindsight saying, "Oh, my rating's going to be better than the." Well, yeah, well, we're taking our ratings from back in November. When, let's not forget, and I didn't get to say this at the start of the season, but I was the only one on the panel that was 100% Eddie Howe in. Paul was undecided but still supportive, and Billy and Sam were both out. So, it is what it is. We're all entitled to a different opinion in that. That is definitely an opinion-based thing. But
Yeah.
we were all rating him in his low moments as well, and that's what this rating is based on.
Yeah, exactly. It's over the season, and we did have some stinkers. Let's not forget that. But the Toon Review have given Eddie Howe a season rating of 7. There was a lot of 10s in there. There was also a lot of 2s and 3s, in particular heavy defeats. But a lot of people were, looking at his ratings early on in the season. There was a lot of confusion about some of his substitutions and the timing of the subs and things like that. So, but also let's give a shout out to Mr. Tyndall as well for stuffing Manchester United at St James's Park. So
yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. Went a little awry against Villa, but listen, he did a great job when he had to step in. So there you go. There are the average ratings for the season. 1 or 2 surprises in there, without a shadow of a doubt. But it is what it is in football. You go over a season. It's not one game. It's not the back end of the season. It's not. It's based on each individual rating that they get through for every single game, and then obviously averaged out. You doesn't matter where we finish. If you've had a stinker, which we did quite a few times this season, it will affect your average scores for the year. Right, for the Toon Review viewers, Player of the Year. Any thoughts, guys?
Tonali should be, I think.
Alex, what do you reckon?
I mean, Tonali based on grace and elegance and technique, but I think Isak deserves to be definitely in that conversation just for brute force. 29 goal contributions is just outrageous. It was far superior to anything we've had from any striker since Shearer. Yeah. It's got to be up there as a consideration.
Well, we've had almost 1,000 votes, and the Toon Review Viewers Player of the Year is Sandro Tonali, 55% of the votes. Second was Dan Burn on 24% of the votes. Third, Isak with 16, and Murphy with 5. So that is how the voting ended. So Sandro Tonali, clearly the new Toon Review Player of the Season. So well done to Sandro Tonali. We'll have to send him a granny shirt or something like that just to say well done. You'll not have a clue what the hell that is, but there you go. What's so funny about that?
I'd enjoy that too much.
Or maybe a granny. We should sell it to Wayne Rooney, really, shouldn't we? I mean, he's the one that
he'd be using it to wipe things up. He would.
Oh dear God, Billy, Christ on a bike. Anyway, there you go. What a season it's been. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your super chats and memberships. Thank you, mods. Alex, Billy, and Sam, and of course you lot out there, thank you very much. Massive crowd in again tonight. This channel is growing very, very quickly. Big crowds. And if you have enjoyed tonight's show, hit the thumbs up button. That's still very important to us. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see on the Toon Review, come and join this amazing community by hitting that subscribe button, completely free of charge. But make sure you hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. Become a member. There's a join button there if you want to become a member. We've got some prizes coming up this week for our members. So if you're watching this on a rerun as well, hit the join button. It's there for everybody all the time. Thank you to Mamaroo Records for sponsoring the channel, based in Whitley Bay, for all your music needs. But if you can't get into the shop in Whitley Bay, check them out online. It's pinned at the top of the description alongside our website, which is thetoonreview.com. That is your place to go for all your Toon Review merchandise. Have a good look around, see what you think, and get yourself something nice to support the channel. Now, do we have a transfer show tomorrow, Alex? Have we got a transfer show?
We can do. Yes, I have about 3. So
okay. Well, we'll do a transfer show tomorrow. No doubt.
Line them up and I'll knock them down.
There you go. No doubt there is going to be news, so we'll either go live or do a video. We will keep you informed of everything right here on the Toon Review. So just make sure you've got those notifications on so you never miss when we upload or we go live like we had to today with the news on Paul Mitchell. But thank you very much for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you again very soon. Good night.
How are the lads and lasses?
Come back and check out some green.